Well, hello. Today is Thursday, February the 13th, and we had some interesting things happen up on the Hill today. One of which that I thought was actually really unique, really special to me, was we had an opportunity on the House floor where a member of the House took an opportunity to introduce the survivors of all those military individuals from Utah that unfortunately were killed in the line of duty during the last year. And so mothers, fathers, grandparents, sisters, brothers, family members all filled the entire house floor as well as the balcony and took a moment to be recognized individually, one-on-one. And that was a very unique moment. So if you have an opportunity to watch that, I would definitely recommend that. Also, we had a very interesting bill that just barely popped up. It's one of those that I think a lot of us in the freedom movement have been waiting to see, when is it going to come out? And here it is. And what it is it is Senate Bill 136, and this was introduced by Democrat Kathleen Repeal. And this is a comprehensive sex education bill. It doesn't sound that way from the title. The title is Healthy Lifestyles Revision, which is a little bit misleading to say the least. So let's start with the brass tacks and then go from there. So in my humble opinion, this bill seeks to do three things. So the first thing that this bill does is it seeks to retain parental right to review and approve if a child is going to attend this type of education or not. Now, this is going to be really kind of some lip homage, in my humble opinion, as it relates to trying to appease those traditional families that don't want anything to do with this. Like I've put in the notes down below, we all know that teens never talk to one another. So if your child doesn't attend, no problem. Pretty sure that they'll be getting all of that education directly from a friend of theirs. And that's line 110, where it says requires student parent to be notified in advance and have an opportunity to review the information for which parental consent is required. The second thing that this does is that it will repeal provision prohibiting the use of contraceptives. So up to this point, contraceptives are something that are really not spoken of. Abstinence teaching is really what is taught in Utah currently. Here it repeals that with lines 65 through 72. So let's read those for a moment. It says prohibit instruction in, and then line 68 slashes a line through the advocacy or encouragement of the use of contraceptives methods or devices. So that was prohibited. Now we get 70, which says except as provided to allow instructions to include information about contraceptive methods. The third thing that this bill does is a requirement to report participation in the training. So again, this is where the bill starts to get some teeth, because in the event that there are areas or individuals that are not participating, just like oftentimes your name or information is put on a list if you do participate, this one's going to seek to put your name or information on a list if you don't participate. And that's lines 207 through 209. So what do we do about this, and what are we to think about this whole comprehensive sex education? Well, there's really four things that I would say that are really missing from the comprehensive sex education. The first one would be emotional health. Many studies and personal confessions have revealed the real emotional damage of casual sex, and that's what bills such as this will really seek to inspire and teach young individuals. The second is commitment. So nothing in the curriculum orients children towards a long-term commitment or marriage. The third is the good of society. And if government exists for anything, it really is to promote the best practices that are going to promote the most healthy, enriching society. And the CSE curriculum is totally oriented towards self-gratification. And that starts with very, very young children. The fourth is physical health. So we know STDs are radically increasing, even though some millennials now seem to be avoiding sex. And again, this is only going to get worse if generations are thoroughly taught to seek pleasure at any cost. So a few of the things, because I don't want to sound like an alarmist here, but a few of the things that are taught with these CSE type education programs is number one, it teaches children to masturbate. It will also encourage acceptance and exploration of diverse sexual orientations and gender identities in very young children. The other, it will promote a high-risk sexual behaviors. And it also will teach that those behaviors are safe. It will promote pleasure and promiscuity as a right for children. The other important thing is it is heavily backed by Planned Parenthood. And so it will make I don't think any of us will be surprised to learn that it also promotes abortion as safe and without consequences. It also encourages children to experiment sexually with individuals of their own sex or the opposite sex. It claims to be comprehensive sexual education is a human right. It will teach children and youth that they are sexual all the way from birth. It promotes condoms to children without informing them of their failure rates. It promotes the disrespect for parents, religious and cultural values. It promotes sexual counseling, information, or services to minors that may or may not come without parental consent. It also trains children to advocate for their sexual rights in laws and policies, and it also encourages peer-to-peer sexual education. Very many things. Again, there's some links down below. I want to be fair and make sure that we also mention that the proponents of this type of education will typically cite two studies. One study from 2006 and the other study from 2011 that seek to dismiss abstinence and say that there's really no clear data that shows that the abstinence only is successful in helping our children and teenagers to not be sexually active. So again, a lot of stuff going on here. This has been a bill that in the past has consistently been introduced by the now minority whip, Brian King. This one has now passed over to a female, Kathleen Reby. It's numbered and it's coming our way, ladies and gentlemen. So this is something that you want to make sure we continue that fight to avert. The bill link is below. Make sure you click on that. Make sure you reach out to your legislator to make sure that they know and understand the trouble with this. The last thing I wanted to talk about is we had an interesting bill that came through today, and that was the straight party vote. This was introduced by Patrice RM, the Democrat that's been up there for close to 30 years at this point. She's going to be retiring, and she ran this bill, and it passed. It was universally opposed by the GOP leadership, but there were quite a few individuals that succumbed to the information that taking that off the ballot is good, because by removing it, now people will vote for those positions that perhaps they weren't because they were not affiliated with a party, such as school board or local and municipal areas and judges where they're not declaring if they are libertarian, Republican, Democrat, or the other. All great excuses. Again, my position is it removes choice. Here in Utah, we had that as a choice. A person could choose to select that box or not. Myself personally, I've never checked that box. I'd never intended to check that box. However, I feel that because we have been doing that, it is a right that the people, in my opinion, wanted, but it's now gone through the House. So if you would like to fight that, you'll have to fight it in the Senate committees and with your senator before it moves through. But wanted to wrap that up. Again, a lot of things covered. The show notes down below will really help as you fish your way through this. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.